This is a room that we watered for 3 days, and now is next day, and we went to recovery stage or stop stage, how we sometimes call it. Today is Saturday. This compost was filled on Tuesday. In this room now, during this phase, our main priority is high humidity, high CO2 level, and we are waiting for mycelium to come to the surface of casing soil. Now our fan speed set on a minimum position, 25%, and this fan only blows to just mix air inside the room. Air temperature here is 20 degrees and compost is 24 degrees. CO2 measuring unit shows 10,000 ppm, but it's maximum that this unit can show. Probably here it's much higher than 10,000 ppm, and it's really hard to breathe in this room now. And this condition is good for vegetative state of mycelium, and mycelium goes to the surface. During 3 days, we watered 42 liters of water in a compost, and our compost is good, have good moisture, and you can see drops of water on a compost, and this is yellowish water, and this is what we want to have in this room on this stage. We're expecting this recovery stage until we will go to cool down stage for 1.5 days. Probably in a 1.5 days we will have mycelium on the surface. Right now we can see some mycelium close to the surface, but this recovery stage now only for 10 hours since it's switched on, so we will wait for another little bit more than a day, and tomorrow we will go to cool down stage in this room. On this stage you can see that mycelium came close to the surface of casing soil, and this is what we need for this stage. What is important, we cannot water anymore, because if water comes to the surface of casing soil, we will create pins, but we don't need those pins now. We will create our mushrooms during cool down stage, next stage. So now we don't water, and we are waiting until mycelium comes to the surface of casing soil. Our priority now is to keep high CO2 levels and high humidity, good condition for vegetative state of mycelium when it grows as mycelium, and we are creating on a surface in our micro and macroclimate conditions that good for mycelium to grow, not for mushrooms, for mycelium. So we are waiting for mycelium to come to the surface of our casing soil. In this room, around 34-35 hours went since we started recovery stage in order to bring mycelium to the surface of the casing soil. On last video you saw mycelium when we, after 10 hours after starting recovery stage, now 35 hours. And you can see that mycelium came to the surface. Here we have air temperature 21 degree, compost temperature 25.5 degree, and we let air to increase to 21 degree because we know that compost don't have supplements, and risks that it will heat up very quickly is low, so it's quite calm. This is why we can allow air go to 21 degree. If it would be supplements here, we would probably keep lower temperatures. Here CO2 levels is very high, still hard to breathe, and climate humid. Computer says it's 99%, but what we see on a surface tells us that probably humidity here is lower, and it feels like it is lower, and we don't really like what we see on the shells because mycelium is not enough fluffy, and we guess that real humidity here is lower. On this video on the screen you can see situation in the same stage from another farm where Yuri grown mushrooms, and this is the much better picture that you wanna achieve on your shelf. This more fluffy mycelium will give you better results. But still, here is it will be okay. It's a normal situation for this farm. Maybe not perfect, but you can see that mycelium is growing and it went to the surface. And now it's time to start cool down. We will switch cool down parameters and we'll go to next stage to create our mushrooms, to create generations. This video was filmed at the Tomasz farm in Ukraine, where Yuri is conducting consultations. We decided to share it with you because the climate, casing soil and mycelium conditions here are somewhat different yet excellent. In this room, it's the first day of recovery. Humidity is at 99% and you can see the fog, which is exactly what we aimed for. The temperature has been raised from 18 degree to 20 degree and the compost is at 25 degree, continuing to rise. Tomorrow we will start cooling, so we are not concerned about the increasing compost temperature. The fan is set to a minimum, just enough to maintain the temperature. The mycelium is under the top clamps, and since the room is warm and humid, it will reach the surface by tomorrow, allowing us to begin cool down. We are humidifying the floors 3 times a day. Recovery here will last for about 1.5 days. The curtains are already in place to reduce evaporation from the shells and retain moisture in casing soil.